Kyle, we'll get to your other comments, Kyle, I swear. But I want to hop on this real quick that Republicans have always been entirely about identity politics. They just use dog whistles. This is something I say all the time, that Republicans, Republicans have no fucking right, like no leg to stand on whatsoever to criticize anybody, left, right, center, up, down, of participating in identity politics. Because first off, all politics are identity politics. That's how it is. Like, yeah, you fall into some sort of identity. But even if we're taking it the way that they're saying, generally racial identity politics, that's all the Republicans got. That's it. Like the Republican Party since 1965, on average, 90% white. 90%. So you're telling me that this party that is 90% white, even today, when it's more diverse than ever, it's still like 82% white. That this party doesn't appeal to white identity politics. And I always put it this way. If there was a political party in the country that was 85% black, 85% of the voting population was black, what would you think about that party? You would think, okay, obviously this party is, catering to the demands and the interests of black people at the expense of others. And you would be right. Of course you'd be right, because the voting population is one type of person. But the Republicans don't see it that way. No, for them, it's just, no, we just have the right policies. It's just very strange and very coincidental that these policies only seem to appeal to white people and almost nobody else. So get the fuck out of here whenever they talk about identity politics, because that's all they practice in the first place. It's absurd.
If you have, and you can look through all fucking television, if you have a show that has three or more black protagonists or like main characters, it's a black show.
It's a black show.
If you have a show that has three or more white protagonists and the rest of them are minority groups, it's not a white show.
It's just a show. It's just a show.
And it's you see it over and over again. It's constantly everywhere. And you know what? Americans haven't learned that lesson either, DJ.
No.
Like that is how Americans view things still to this day.
You know what? When this first hit me was 1,000 years ago. One of my favorite films is Reservoir Dogs. I assume you've seen it, John. Yes. I love Reservoir Dogs. And I was watching it for probably the 10th time, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. There is not one female speaking line in the whole movie. Oh, you knew this? Okay, I just caught it. Like one day I was like, because the only time like a woman even makes a sound is when she gets shot or something. Whenever
because Tarantino couldn't get women to actually work with him before he was famous.
The thing I can imagine. The thing is, I never noticed it. It was seriously like the 10th time I watched the movie that I noticed that there was not one female speaking line. That would have never happened if it was just women talking. I noticed that the halfway through the movie, it's like, where are the dudes? How come every speaking line is going to a woman? I would have noticed it right away. And that's when I picked up on this. And yeah, you're right. It's that we have here's a normal movie. It's 70% white, maybe a female love interest here and there, or a mother character, a couple minorities to round it out. That's a movie. But like you said, man, a lot of Asians in here. Why are they pandering so hard to the Asians? This is just, and the Republicans, that is their party. Their party is just white Christian conservatives, almost nobody else. And which
they've never nominated anything but a white dude for president.
So I was about to go on this. So when I was thinking about Harris and how they've been fumbling this and not knowing how to do it, I was like, maybe Democrats should just run black people from now on, because it seems like the Republicans don't actually know what to do when it comes to, because I was like, maybe that's it. Maybe they just get so built up with the racism they can't help themselves but act like fucking Neanderthals and just drop the ball. I don't know. I'm not discounting that. It's only like a half-day old theory, but I mean, 2 out of 2 so far, they don't seem to do it themselves.
And it's really funny, TJ, because as a white person, I'm sure you have similar experience. But when I'm in a big group of black people, or just minority, where I am not of the majority, I'm definitely more sensitive about bringing up racial topics. In fact, I avoid them like the plague.
Yeah,
because I know it's only a bad thing for me. If they are brought up to me, I know how to answer eloquently. You know this because you always fuck around with me. But like, I'm not going to bring up the topic.
Yeah.
And what Donald Trump showed today at the Black Journalist Convention was that he doesn't understand that rule. He doesn't understand it.
He's never had to.
He's never had to, because his entire bubble is fucking white people and Tim Scott and
Tim Scott. Forgot about that guy.
And Black Yes Men. Like that's it. And but most Americans don't live that way anymore. Most Americans now have minorities in their life and understand these things. And It's weird when they hear people talk who have only been around white people all the time. Just like it's like, if you talk to someone who's only lived in a Black community their entire life, they talk differently than we do, TJ. They just do.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing for white people, but for so long, that's just been normal in America that no one's noticed. But now that it's not really, it's kind of normal, but it's not the majority anymore. Now it's starting to seem really fucking weird.
And it's changed our collective language. I was thinking about this when Trump was talking to the Black journalist group today, and the stuff he said is, you're right. Like, he's used to saying it to a particular audience, where he says that he actually said the Black Jobs line. I don't know if you saw that, but
did he?
He did.
He's like, that was a real winner. I'm going to keep using that phrase.
Yeah, because Harris Faulkner, I think she's a Black Fox News reporter. She was on the panel, and she asked him about immigration, I think, and he said that, well, we got these people. He went to his line that they're emptying their prisons and insane asylums and sending them here, like a completely baseless comment. But he said, and they're coming up here and they're taking Black jobs. I said, wow, he said it. And then one of the reporters said, well, wait a minute. Well, what's a Black job? And he said, well, a Black job is, it's any job that anybody could have, and he started rolling on. I was like, well, then why do you say Black job? But the way, and then the way that they talk about, race issues has changed so much, even in just 8 years. And so this one's kind of older, but something that I've noticed over the decades, that how it's like we make fun of conservatives because they don't say Black people, they say the Blacks. It's kind of their thing. They love saying that. I think I mentioned on the show before, that used to be just what people said. Like, people still say it. Like, you will still see, like, on CNN or MSNBC, like people, like, respectable news, people's like, and 40% of Blacks support this, because that's just the way people talk. But over time, language has evolved. Like, no one says Negro or colored anymore. Words just kind of change. And the argument that people use that, Blacks dehumanizes Black people because you don't add people on it, which, fine, but that's not really true, because people say Asians all the time, and no one say, like, people don't have any problem with that, or they say, or you hear, or Latinos, you don't have to add people after that. But anyway, but that's just how it's changed. But I've done this too over the years, is that I don't say Jews. I never say that. Like, because once the real issue is, racist people started using these terms, and when this comes from a racist person, it develops a bite. So, 30 years ago, people would say, well, I mean, I guess people still say, I would never say this, that, the Jews want this. I would never say that. It sounds icky just saying it out loud. And Blacks has kind of evolved to that too. Yep. When these words aren't necessarily on their own derogatory, but the people who use them make them that way. And Trump hasn't figured that out yet. Trump is like, oh, this is just what we say. It's like, no, man, that's what you weirdo freaks say, and it creeps everybody out. It's kind of weird to behold.
And yeah, it's just like, he wouldn't have said that question was disrespectful and nasty coming from this man. If it was, I don't know, some just white normal journalist,
Jake Tapper or something.
Jake Tapper. We know that. Yeah. Every fucking and I know this as someone who is not from any fucking minority group. Like, that when people react like that to a question from a minority or from a woman, that's what they mean by it. It's that it's disrespectful coming from them, because racist, misogynistic assholes have been saying shit like that for generations, and they don't recognize it. And that's why, to wrap it all into a big bow, that's why the weird attack is so effective, because that's what it is. It's weird. Call it out for what it is. It's weird, and they have no defense from it, because they have no self-awareness of how fucking weird it is.
Very true. Very true. And since we got to close out here, let's go to this in the comments we missed here. I saw one from Kyle. Oh, that's right. Kyle said, is that showing up? Here you go. I think the left has a big problem of demanding language. Back when defund the police was catching steam, it made it difficult to actually reallocate funds away from policing. I think we're in agreement on the defund the police thing, aren't we, John? Okay,
yeah,
I thought so.
Defund the police, stupid slogan, good intention.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was terrible. I remember having an argument with someone here at like our local DSA chapter, I think last year or something like that, because I said the same thing, that defund the police is not. And look, was it overblown? Because it's not like anyone in Congress ran on that. Like not even the squad ran on defund the police. But you know how we are. You know, people love throwing the slogan out. And I said that politically, there's two problems with defund the police. The first one is that politically, you never want your cause to be taking something away from you. You never want that. Like you always want to be what people are gaining, not what you're taking away. And the second part is that, yes, everybody has a problem with the cops. Everyone thinks it's a problem, whatever. But whenever you ask people what they want to make their society safer, because that's what a person was arguing against me. He's like, oh yeah, we tell them, like we ask them what things they need. I said, did any of them say they wanted fewer cops? The answer is no. Like nobody says that. No community. And although we know more cops doesn't equal less crime, if you ask people in crime-ridden areas what they want, they will never tell you take away cops. They never say it. So you've got to, there's no snappy way to say reallocate police funds, to take them away from, noise complaints and shit like that. But, I agree. The defund the police line are not really doing any good. And we missed here. Oh, this is a funny line here. Kamala Harris is apparently black enough for conservatives to be racist against her. That's good. That's a banger.
That's how you know you're black. That should settle the question, Don.
Right?
You wouldn't be calling her a DEI president if she wasn't black.
Richard Nixon's assistant said that they stopped using racial slurs, but school choice and law and order are all the same thing. Is that Lee Atwater? I think he's talking about Lee Atwater with that. So, yeah, where he says that, you stopped saying N-word, N-word, N-word and started talking about welfare or talking about busing or, war on drugs and stuff, but to, code things that thugs. What's a good one where they're always, inner city problems. It means black people like that. That's what they're trying to say and everything. Torrential Rage says, hello. How's it going?
Hello,
and Kyle says, I feel like someone should trademark the blacks, the Jews, kind of like the Kardashians. I don't recommend anyone doing that, but I'm not going to go up.
It's funny, TJ, as like I'm ethnically Jewish. My grandfather's Jewish. Like I grew up around Jewish people. They all called themselves Jews. So like that's what. And then I was like in school one time and I said like the Jews. And like someone was like, you can't say that. And I was like,
yeah, oh yeah.
And I was like, what? Like, you can't say the Jews. I'm like, but we're the Jews. what do you mean? It's like, that's insensitive. It's like, well, tell that to the Jews. They're my family. But now I feel uncomfortable. Like I'll say it still, but like it does like in certain contexts. I'm like, I'm not going to say that.
Sounds weird. It sounds weird. Yeah. And that's because the people who say it, and really enjoy and put like the sting on it, like, okay, all right.
Those anti-Semitic people. Now I have to spell out Jewish people. It's real time suck.
People, I remember when I was younger, people were really upset at the term African American. When I was a kid, people get really mad about that. I remember they would say, why would I say 7 syllables whenever I could say 1? And I think it was like African American. Yes, I still remember them saying that. And my answer, I used the Asian example again. I was like, okay, I just want to say black. Why can't I say African American? It's like, do you call Asians yellows? That's what I would ask them all the time. Yeah, back then it wasn't like, that's another thing. Like people would say, yellow. No one says that anymore because it's, but it's also falling out of fashion. But back then people still said it all the time. And of course, the answer always was like, no, you just don't like black people. You just want to find. This is something with the Republicans, too, that I always point out how the Republicans do everything in their power to disparage black people at every opportunity. They've moved from CRT to woke to DEI, and all three of them and all their predecessors were just ways to disparage the accomplishments and the humanity of black people. This is like it's shocking how much of the conservative movement is just based upon that, and they don't. I do like the fact that they're more open about it now. I appreciate it because it makes it easier to expose them to the wide population because the nation has grown. Like you were talking about Kamala Harris and suburban women. I saw it's like 59% of women said they will not vote for Trump. Like a wildly high number. I said, oh my God, and it's because of stuff like that, because women are more compassionate. And they're like, yeah, that's kind of fucked up how you're just brutalizing trans people and minorities and women at every available opportunity. And it's not gonna end well for them. It's not.
And that was the last comment. We also have Heather claps for us.
Oh, I see it.
We always appreciate Heather's claps.
We do.
I always look forward to them, Heather. But yeah, that's a wrap on our show, TJ. We're up past an hour. It's been a pleasure.
Do we have a guest for tomorrow? I didn't.
I was wondering that because I'm not around tomorrow.
Oh shit, that's right. Okay, I gotta find a guest. All right, cool. Yeah.
BK messaged me.
Oh, perfect.
If he had any, he wanted to be on the show.
Oh, great! I'm gonna hold you.
So I can message him back, be like, "Yo, you want to be on tomorrow?"
Oh, you gonna be great.
But yeah, definitely, I'll put some feelers out because it is my anniversary, and I will not be around.
Fantastic. I forgot you told me that too. I completely forgot about that. You told me a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
If we want to have like a some sort of extra one of these in replacement of a show tomorrow because we don't have a guest, let me know. I'm sure we can.
Are you gonna be? Will you be around this weekend or something? Or
I'll be. I'm saying we can talk offline about it.
Okay, yeah.
We'll figure it out. If we don't have a show tomorrow, people, show up anyway.
We'll be checking. I'll find someone. It won't be that bad. But yeah, fantastic. Sorry, TJ, I have a wedding. Man, it's a wedding and anniversary season. Well, what is it, your wedding, Mark? If so, congratulations. But he would have said it was my wedding, not a wedding. So yeah. But enjoy it. Weddings are great because the food is always good. I that's all I care about the wedding. The food is good. I'm cool. Like all the other bells and whistles, I don't really give a fuck about.
I just care about the open bar. As long as it has an open bar, it's a good time.
Fair point. Fair enough. All right. Cool.
All right. See you guys.
Good stuff.